you've got to make the calls, right? You've got to make the decisions. It's not always going to pan out the way you think it will or you want it to, but that's all part of progress.
Welcome to Honest E-Commerce, a podcast dedicated to cutting through the BS and finding actionable advice for online store owners. I'm your host, Chase Clymer, and I believe running a direct-to-consumer brand does not have to be complicated or a guessing game. On this podcast, we interview founders and experts who are putting in the work and creating real results. I also share my own insights from running our top Shopify consultancy, Electric Eye. We cut the fluff in favor of facts to help you grow your e-commerce business. Let's get on with the show. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Honest E-Commerce. Today, I'm bringing to the show not one, but two amazing founders. I've got Lauren and Allison. They're joining me from Juliet, a brand reimagining boxed wine. Juliet carries award-winning California wines and innovative, eco-friendly packaging. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us. Excited to be here.
Thank you. Yeah, excited to be here.
Awesome. So obviously, you've got some amazing boxed wine. Just for the audience, for those that aren't aware, do you want to give us the elevator pitch?
Yeah, absolutely. So Juliet is the first luxury boxed wine. So we offer 6 varietals of California wine made in a low intervention style. So we use no artificial additives, no synthetic pesticides. All of our wines are award winning. They come in a beautiful patent pending cylindrical container that is eco-friendly. It reduces the carbon footprint by over 50% when compared to glass bottles. The wines are clean tasting, fruit forward, great expressions of all of the grapes. It also keeps the wine fresh for 4 weeks after you open it. So perfect if you just want to enjoy a glass at a time, or if you'd like to take it with you. Beach, boat, pool, picnic, park. Also great for parties, great as gifts. We have a lot of value propositions we're proud of.
That's amazing. And not only that, it is delicious. My wife enjoyed the samples you shared over, so thank you for that.
Oh, we'd love to hear that. Glad she enjoyed.
I'm so glad to hear that.
Now, take me back in time. Where did the idea of getting into the box wine market come from? What was going on in your life?
Yeah, I can jump in with that. So, I mean, this was the pandemic time. So as you can imagine, people were drinking a lot of wine, wasn't much else to do. And I actually have a wine and spirits background. So I've previously worked at Pernod Ricard, working on brands like Perrier-Jouette champagne. And so I was actually at my parents' house during the pandemic, and they had some boxed wine in the fridge. And I remember, drinking the wine and just thinking to myself, wow, this is such a cool experience. This is like wine on tap in a fridge. You can have one glass at a time, not worry about having to throw out a half-drank bottle a day or two later. And yet it wasn't the style of wine that I wanted. It wasn't the quality of wine that I wanted. And it didn't look like it had the design aesthetic that, that I'm looking for with products that I generally purchase. And so Lauren and I are old friends. We're both lovers of wine, and we've been wanting to do a business together for a while. And so we just got talking about, what if we reimagined boxed wine? What if we created something that really transcended the category and that created a more luxurious experience? And, really was that affordable luxury that we love in a lot of the other products that we purchase. So we got to ideating around, what that could look like and, what we could do from a wine perspective, what we could do from a packaging perspective, from a brand perspective. The idea for Juliet was born.
That's amazing. And I love that it came from you experiencing a product that you enjoyed and realizing like this hasn't been innovated upon, this hasn't been improved. And that's something I'm seeing a lot in the direct-to-consumer industry is they're just finding stale product categories and being like, how can we differentiate this and do it better? Another episode to listen to if any listeners out there want to see something more like this was I did an interview with Laundry Sauce, and they were reimagining kind of laundry detergent for men with better smells. And I was like, yeah, why has no one ever done that? So a lot of it, if you're stuck in that place where you want to maybe start your own business, you don't need the next Facebook idea. You can just, there's something that exists that you can probably do better.
Absolutely. I mean, not only do better, but to make it more relevant for the modern consumer. I think there's been just massive shifts in what consumers are looking for in the brands and products they love over the past 5-10 years. And, these more traditional categories, sometimes the big incumbents and the different consumer spaces, they're not always equipped to evolve in fast enough to keep up. And so I think that creates a great opportunity for brands like ours. But just like you said, there's so many other great brands doing something similar, like whether it's Fishwife or, Touchland with hand sanitizer. There's a lot of great examples of this happening, to meet the evolving demands of the consumer these days. Absolutely.
So you've got this idea. We're going to make boxed wine better. What do you do?
Well, I'll be very honest. The first thing I said to Allison was, oh my gosh, do we get to buy a vineyard? Which we didn't. And that is not how it works. But I got really excited. Part of my background is in property. And so that was the first thing that my mind went to. So we immediately set out to find great winemaking partners in the region of California that we were hoping that we could find partners in based on the house style of wine that Allison and I both wanted to achieve, which is more of an old world style wine. So our wines are all from the central coast of California. And then we were also simultaneously working really diligently on creating a brand that we thought could really stand up as an iconic brand someday and have the tenets and the creativity and the staying power of some brands that we admired more than any others. We wanted it to appeal to a modern woman, but also be something that would be enjoyed by men everywhere. And we really hit the nail on the head, I think, when we converted the traditional box, which is rectangular in shape or cubical in shape in some manner, and took that and redesigned it and reimagined it, I should say, as a cylindrical container. I think that was really the unlock. And then that combined with the branding is really what sets us apart.
How long was it from like this idea sticking to where you had that like aha moment? It's like, it doesn't have to be a box.
Allison, I think from the beginning of the conversations until the aha moment around the box was just a couple of months, maybe. It was really maybe 3 months, because then it took us 18 months almost of working with product engineers in order to create this new packaging format.
Yeah, it was pretty quick. I think we realized very fast that if we were really going to transcend the category, really going to differentiate ourselves on shelf and just visually, be very, very different from the brands that were out there today, that we had to have our own sort of signature take on the packaging. It really didn't feel sufficient to just slap a beautiful design on an off-the-shelf rectangular box. To us, that wasn't going to be powerful enough to achieve that perception change that we really knew we had to achieve. Because people, consumers in the US especially have a very distinct perception of what boxed wine is, right? Like Chase, what do you think of when you think of traditional boxed wine?
Oh, college and the game slap the bag.
Totally. Exactly. I mean, that's a classic answer. And sometimes people will say like, oh, like my grandmother had it in her fridge, whatever it might be. And so, we were up against at the beginning, like this perception change. How do you make people stop thinking about slap the bag and start thinking about a very elevated experience with beautiful, high quality wine in a gorgeous package that you're proud to share with your friends? And we just felt like we had to differentiate more than just the design of the box. Like it had to be the actual shape. It had to be visually, like there's just no question that this is something totally, that stands apart on its own. So it was a pretty fast, realization that we came to.
Absolutely. So 18 months, that was from kind of like, all right, we're doing this to, you got a prototype in hand, or where was that? Where'd you end up?
We had prototypes far sooner than 18 months. It was about 18 months, from start of, hey, we have this idea to, hey, we're launching in the market.
Yeah.
And let's talk about that. Great transition. Thank you. You really set me up nice there. So what was that go-to-market strategy? How did you kind of make noise and try to get some first customers that weren't your friends and family?
So our go-to-market strategy was to launch primarily direct to consumer first. So we knew that we ultimately long-term wanted to be a retail brand, a wholesale brand, in the alcohol industry. That is, the the best path to profitability, but it's also really where consumers, typically like to buy their alcohol. And so that was our end game, but we really felt strongly that we had to launch in the direct to consumer channel first with a brand owned e-commerce store so that we could get our proof of concept, to really evaluate if we had product market fit. Like this, Juliet is very unlike anything that had existed before, not only from a price point perspective, but from, the shape of the box to, it was a very different proposition to what was out there. So we didn't really have a lot of, historical case studies to go off of telling us that this would work. And we wanted the customer data. We wanted the early revenues. We wanted to test different pricing scenarios. So we tested 6 or 7 different price points to see what had the highest conversion rate. So we did initially launch primarily in direct to consumer. And in terms of getting our first customers, I think that's where, Lauren and I both have backgrounds in sales and marketing. So I think that experience really helped us right off the bat because we were able to execute a lot of different tactics to pull in those first customers, whether it was, paid media, email marketing, organic social. We had a whole host of influencers that were sort of friends of the brand or friends of ours, people we knew through our networks that were helping to promote. And we also, invested in a PR team. So I remember like a huge moment for us around launch was when Vogue.com exclusively announced our launch. So we definitely leaned into the marketing tactics right off the bat in order to really make a splash and make sure that we had those first customers where we could then kind of analyze the data and make sure that we were on the right track from a product market fit perspective.
I have been in business for nearly 20 years, and very few companies I have hired in that time have performed as well as Electric Eye. They have knowledgeable staff, and our project was delivered on time and on budget. Electric Eye has exceeded my expectations, and I look forward to working with them again. That is a direct quote from one of our clients at Electric Eye. Electric Eye is a Shopify Plus partner that has helped over 100 brands migrate, redesign, and optimize their stores since 2016. If you'd like to increase your conversion rate, average order value, and revenue per session, we are the true Shopify experts you've been looking for. Right now, we're offering a free diagnostic to qualified brands that reach out and mention the podcast. Visit electriceye.io today to schedule a call and send us a message. Find out why we have over 50 5-star reviews in the Shopify partner directory. Again, that's electriceye.io, electriceye.io. You're investing in paid traffic, email, influencers, you're doing everything, but your store's still not converting like it should. That's the hidden cost nobody's talking about. If you don't know why people aren't buying, you're constantly losing money. Whenever conversion rate optimization comes up with brands, the first thing I ask them at the agency is what they are using for analytics and behavior tracking. Heatmap.com is my go-to recommendation because it's the only platform I've seen that connects user behavior directly to sales. That kind of visibility is critical for e-commerce brands trying to grow. I tell every brand that we work with to install Heatmap. It shows you what's working and what isn't using real behavior data tied directly to revenue. You get live heat maps, session recordings, funnels, and attribution down to specific product pages. This isn't just another analytics dashboard, it's a revenue optimizer. And right now, Honest E-commerce listeners get the hookup. They get a 14-day free trial. They get access to their ultimate 150-point CRO checklist. And as a bonus, you'll get a free setup by us over at Electric Eye when you ask for us to do so. So stop wasting another dollar guessing. Visit heatmap.com/honest. That's heatmap.com/honest and start seeing what your customers see, because clarity truly equals revenue. Let's be real. Sales tax is a nightmare. You didn't start an e-commerce brand to stay up late Googling tax laws or stressing over whether you filed in the right state. If you're still trying to DIY your sales tax, or worse, using a tool that leaves most of the work on your plate, you need to check out Zamp. Zamp is a fully managed sales tax solution built specifically for e-commerce brands. That means actual experts handle everything: registration, filings, remittances, all of it. Brands like Tushy, Glamnetic, and David are already using Zamp to get sales tax off their plate. Some Zamp customers spend as little as 2 minutes a month thinking about tax. Imagine that. No confusing pricing tiers, no surprise fees, just one flat rate to make the entire mess disappear. And yes, it works seamlessly with Shopify, Amazon, BigCommerce, QuickBooks, and more. So, if you're tired of sales tax headaches and want to stop risking penalties or audits, go to zamp.com/honest and get 3 months free. That's ZAMP.com/HONEST. Zamp.com/honest. Absolutely. And in those kind of first months in launch, obviously you had some big wins with that Vogue feature. Any missteps along the way? Any mistakes that you want to let our audience maybe avoid in the future?
I'll be honest. When we first launched, as Allison already referenced, we did test out several different pricings, and we did come out of the gate at a higher price than we're at now by a significant margin. And we were seeing a positive reception to that price at first. And then when we started testing our very first retail stores, it was in a particularly affluent market in New York. And so it was also supporting that higher price. It had a 4 in front of it per unit. And given the quality of the grapes that we'd used, when you actually did the math on what it would have cost to drink, because each Magnum, I don't know if we've mentioned, each Magnum contains 2 full bottles worth of wine, traditional bottles worth of wine. So it's approximately 10 glasses. And based on the mathematics of it, this was still a great deal when you thought about the quality of the wine you were getting and the fact that it wasn't going to go bad for a month. So we did test at a higher level. And that was, I don't know if that was a misstep. It was a learning. And then we realized quickly, we both had the feeling that we should go lower. And so then we were able, thanks to our D2C channel, to execute a pretty sophisticated price test to see what was the sweet spot. So that was interesting for us, but I don't think it was detrimental because it all took place in the very beginning. But I will say something that Allison had said it back then, and I always remember, is we can always lower the price, but you can't raise it. So better from a strategic perspective, I think, go out higher, and then you can come down if you need to adjust for market.
Yeah. And I like what you said there. Like, while it was a learning, it wasn't necessarily a mistake. I think a lot of young founders are scared to make choices that could be learning moments, if you want to think of it positively. But it's just like, I think that making decisions is how businesses grow. It doesn't matter if it's right or wrong. You'll learn from it. It's just not making a decision is how you fail.
100%. Couldn't agree more with that.
That's very well said. Yeah.
I actually really don't, this is one of my weird pet peeves. I don't even like acknowledging the word mistake or the word failure, because I just kind of don't believe in it. I think that's part of your role as a founder or a leader in any company. You've got to make the calls, right? You've got to make the decisions. It's not always going to pan out the way you think it will or you want it to, but that's all part of progress. And so I do think people get, aspiring entrepreneurs, I hear this as well. There's a lot of anxiety around, what if I make a mistake, or what if my decision doesn't pan out the way I want it to? What's going to happen then? And I think as an entrepreneur, you have to be very action oriented, and you can't have that fear. You have to just know it's not all going to work out the way I want it to, but I trust in myself to continue to find a way forward. And this is all part of that process. Progress is not a straight line. It's full of ups and downs, and that's totally okay. And that, more often than not can actually be a helpful part of the process.
Yeah. As I like to say, fail fast.
Absolutely.
Just pivot. And that's part of the beauty of being in an organization like this, where it is a startup. You don't have the bureaucracy of a larger corporation, and you can take those chances. And then if you see that you're going in the wrong direction, just acknowledge it and pivot quickly.
Now, pivoting conversation, you said at the beginning, you launched D2C to learn about the product, to get some more data before you really tackled that wholesale channel. But these days you're in dozens, if not hundreds of stores. How has it changed?
Well, it's changed really significantly. In the first half of this year alone, we've tripled our door count So we are now on shelves in Costco, Whole Foods, Harris Teeter, Safeway, Pavilions, Total Wine and More. We're now distributed at retail in 9 states. It's about to be 10. We're in a host of really beautiful independent stores in all of our retail states. As Allison said to begin with, that was always the focus of where we saw the brand going eventually. We just knew that the amount of time it takes to secure the distributor partners that we wanted to have at a really high quality, who are going to be supportive partners and really understood the incredible value of our brand. It just, that takes time. And you have to get out there and show product market fit and show that you're building a community and that you have a loyal customer base before these big established distributors are going to take you seriously as a new brand that's truly innovating a category.
Absolutely. Yeah. That was, you already answered my question before I asked. It was just like, well, how do you get in these big box stores? And you're like, you got to put in the work. You got to show that people want it.
Oh, yeah.
And you got to come with the receipts and be like, no, they want to see us in those stores.
Yeah. It's getting into the chains is a lot of work. Yep. It's not for the faint of heart, but if you believe in what you're doing and you have almost a blind level of confidence that the market is there for your product, I think you can do it.
Amazing. Now, is there anything that I didn't ask you about today that you think would resonate with our audience?
So in addition to being primarily focused as a retail wholesale brand, we still have a very robust D2C channel. And we don't want to forsake that. We don't want to forget about that. So while we're focused, most of our attention, I'll be honest, on supporting our retail partners, we're still looking at what our online customers want. So we have subscription customers. We also took notice of the fact that whenever we ran promos, and this doesn't sound like rocket science, but this doesn't necessarily happen all the time. Whenever we ran promos, we would see a much higher cart value. So the AOV is rising whenever we're offering a lower price. So in order to simplify that for ourselves, for our marketing team, and for the customer, we recently, we did a little update on our website and we decided to launch what we called a bundle bar. So now, rather than always or often doing these, flash sales for different holidays, Mother's Day, Father's Day, et cetera, 15, 20% off, et cetera. Now you can just always go online and shop. And depending on how much bulk you're buying, you'll be able to get a discount of up to 25% off, which was previously the highest discount we would ever offer year round, other than Black Friday, Cyber Monday. So, I'm saying all that just is that, we saw something, we saw where our customers were at, meeting them where they're at, giving them what they want, meeting their needs is always going to be a huge priority for us as a company, even though that's no longer the primary focus in terms of channels of the business.
Absolutely. Volume pricing with bundles is just bundles in general. The more perceived value to the customer, they work so well once you get them right. And I see a lot of younger brands struggling with, heck, some of them just don't have bundles in it at all on their D2C store, which is mind-boggling to me. It's like, this is the easiest way to raise AOV. It makes your shipping 2 or 3 things for the same shipping cost in the same box. It's a no-brainer. It's just sitting down and thinking about that strategy and thinking about what the customer wants is oftentimes the hard part.
Agreed.
Now, we've talked a lot about the wine. Obviously, it's amazing. You guys have won best in class with the wine. Now, if I'm listening to this and I am a wine drinker and I want to check out the product, where should I go? What should I do?
Go to our store locator. So yeah, we have a store locator on www.drinkjuliet.com. So you can see all the stores we're in the states we're currently distributed in. And if we are not at a store or a state near where you're located, then you can purchase us online there. We ship to over 40 states direct to consumer. So that's definitely the best resource. Also, just encourage everybody to follow us on social media, Instagram, TikTok, sign up for our email because we're growing really fast. We're expanding really fast. We've got new stores, new states, all the time. And so the best way to stay abreast on the latest in terms of our expansion is to just, follow us on social. And we're very active about giving the updates there.
Awesome. Allison, Lauren, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thanks for having us. This was great.
Thank you so much. Yeah, such a nice conversation. Thank you.
We can't thank our guests enough for coming on the show and sharing their knowledge and journey with us. We've got a lot to think about and potentially add into our own businesses. You can find all the links in the show notes. You can subscribe to the newsletter at honestecommerce.co to get each episode delivered right into your inbox. If you're enjoying this content, consider leaving a review on iTunes. That really helps us out. Lastly, if you're a store owner looking for an amazing partner to help you get your Shopify store to the next level, reach out to Electric Eye at electriceye.io/connect. Until next time.